Separation anxiety sets in momentarily until she realizes that no matter what she looks like, she is still fearfully and wonderfully made, that her feminine identity was never in jeopardy, nor was her will to stay alive. The way I see it is God just wanted to have a clear path to truly touch her heart. Gina Marie Jocko overcame her infectious adversary and now lives each moment in healed satisfaction. She is a testimony that when life has altered its course, if you take your direction from the sky, you will always make it to the end of your journey.
Hot fire.
Man.
Hot fire. Man.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Boy, let me cool you off, boy.
Stop, man. Stop.
Cool you off, boy.
Stop.
Ooh. Hey, listen. How long ago was that?
That performance was 10 years ago. It was 2013.
Okay, so this man been in the game for a minute, y'all. Like we
Over
said.
20 years.
Listen, this man been in the game for years. Don't play with him. You hear me? He's been doing this for a while. He does this. What it do, everybody? We are back for another episode of the Narrow Path Podcast with your boy, D.R. Bellard. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for all the support, people who have shared, who have done all the things. As I usually say, every episode, if you haven't done all the things, you know what to do. The subscribe button is right here below. Check it out, subscribe, support your boy, rock with your boy. Listen, we got a treat. This episode. We got a poet on the show. You heard me? I mean a professional poet, a slam poet. My man. I'm going to introduce you. Wait, let me read his bio. Y'all know how this works. Let me read the bio. And then we're going to go straight to one of his clips. Check him out. Mr. Lim Saint, I want to make sure I say this right, Gonsalves.
Yep.
Mr. Lim Saint Gonsalves began his poetic journey reciting poems at his father's church. Since then, he has performed internationally and has released 2 albums, a chapbook and a DVD documentary entitled Rise to the Illest: The Poetic Journey of the Saint. His style infuses humor, passion, and ideas which inspire as well as entertain. He is open for hip-hop artists such as Common, Talib Kweli, and Lupe Fiasco, as well as gospel sensation Kirk Franklin, and has shared the stage with R&B legend Biv Devoe and Faith Evans. He has performed for the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, and he was also selected to be on Season 3 and Season 5 of the NCAA Image Award nominated show Verses and Flow as a performance poet. As a competitor, he has represented numerous poetry slam teams over the years at the National Poetry Slam Competition and has won championship titles as a solo performer. In addition to spoken word poetry, he is also an accomplished host in Los Angeles, working with television networks such as VH1, Fox, and MTV, and the online network AfterBuzz TV. In 2020, he created the podcast Colors of Fatherhood, which your boy was on. Go check it out. Episode with D.R. Bellard, in which he interviews fathers of color and seeks to highlight their stories of trial and triumph. He can also be seen in commercials, appearing in spots for FanDuel and Apple, to name a few. But first and foremost, everybody, let's just get right to it, and then we'll be right back to introducing.
I'm against the grain. I'm novelty in familiar places. I'm high society wrapped in urban clothing. I'm mahogany skin, rising from the ashes. I'm the Emancipation Proclamation written in invisible ink. I'm the American dream. Woken up, my heartbeat alone is cause for panic. I'm thought to be feared, but taught to be inferior. My breathing is always labored because the weight of the world sits on my chest. When they ask who I am, I say, I'm apartheid in South Africa. I'm segregation in Alabama. I'm riots in Los Angeles. I'm a whistle to the wrong person, but I've always been music. I'm the birth of rock and roll, the indoctrination of jazz. I'm hymns sung in the key of struggle. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I'm who they are trying to be. I'm whitewashed. I'm auditioning for my right to be here. I'm lit. I'm fired up. I'm tambourine and shout music. I'm Frederick Douglass birthing Gabby Douglas. I'm barbecues by the lake in Oakland. I'm good kid, Mad City coming straight out of Compton feeling illmatic. I'm marches. I'm boycotts. I'm the backseat of the bus. I'm inequality masquerading as affirmative action. A police officer's gun, sweet dream. I'm language too sharp for your lips. I'm why Kaepernick is on his knees. I am, how dare you own your own skin. My family tree is petrified, scared of being the fruit that keeps getting picked up before it's had a chance to ripen. I'm Florida's excuse to stand their ground. I'm Arizona's excuse to see my papers. I'm America's excuse to dial 911. In the past, I was treated as an animal. Today, I'm still a scapegoat, a means to an end, the path of most resistance. My hands are still callous in building the foundation of this country. My roots run deeper than the ocean that carried my forefathers. I'm honesty wrapped in tolerance, the gleam in my mother's eye. I am love, I am compassion, I am enough, but regardless, I am still. Put your hands where I can see them. Where are you going? Know your place. I'm a foreigner on my own soil. I'm a terrorist in my own country. I'm a bomb with a ticking clock. I'm Oscar Grant. Don't forget my name. I'm Eric Garner. Don't forget my name. I'm Sandra Bland, Stephon Clark, Trayvon Martin. Do not forget my name. I am the burden of proof. I am proof of that burden. I'm all these things, and I am still here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the saint, my man, Mr. Lim Gonsalves. Give him a matter of fact, we're not gonna clap, we gonna snap. Everybody snap for my man Lim. Let's snap and clap. The saint, everybody, Mr. Lim Gonsalves.
What's up? What's up? Man?
What's up, my boy?
Man, it's good to be here, man. It's really, really good to be here. I'm so excited for your podcast. I remember when you told me you was really going to get this together, and I'm just glad to see it in fruition. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, listen, we talk the talk, we walk the walk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's all about walking the walk, man.
Yes.
So, like I always tell people who have watched this podcast, I feel like God instructed me to use this platform to uplift others while I'm in the waiting room for Him to uplift me, take me to another level.
Okay.
So I'm just being obedient to God.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's why it's called a Narrow Path Podcast, because we all walk our narrow path
Exactly.
journey. And today we're here to talk about your narrow path journey, sir, and how you got to the point where you started poetry, got to this national prominence, and to where you are now. Why poetry, I guess, first and foremost?
It's a good question. So, like you mentioned in my bio, I started kind of performing in my father's church. And basically, I've been writing pretty much since high school. Actually, they had this thing back in the day. I don't know if they still do it. It's called the Academic Olympics. It's for, nerds and stuff like that. But that was me back then.
Right.
And so I entered the writing portion, and I decided to write a poem because, I like poetry. I was always an avid reader growing up. And so I was like, I could write a poem. So I wrote a poem. I think I got the silver medal. And so that kind of, put the spark in. Took a creative writing class in high school. And when it came to church, my father started his own ministry. And so our whole family, all helped out. This is back in Stockton, California. And so what was happening was, you have, you go to church.
Right.
And so you have
We
singing.
go to the same church.
We go to the same church.
We go to the same church.
Praise Him.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God.
So, you got the singing, you got the preaching, you got, kind of praise dance was kind of getting involved. Even like Christian rap was kind of at that time, like in its infancy. But I was like, there's got to be more. And so I was like, I think it'd be dope to really have a poem that goes forth in church. And so I remember asking my parents, can I write a poem for this special event and perform it? They were like, sure. So I remember doing that, wrote the poem, and I got really good feedback. And so I was like, okay, this could be something. And basically that's how it started. I started writing poems for different events at church, special projects, whatever. And then what happened was I ended up entering a competition that came to the city. I think it gave away $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd never heard of such thing. I was on the radio, everything. So I was like, oh, I should enter this. And people were like, you should try it out. Now, I'm a realist. You know, I think I'm, at that time, you know, I thought I was a little talented, but I was like, I'm not that talented. I mean, these are going to be people coming from all over the country because it's such a high reward. I was like, I'm going to enter and see what I do.
Right.
I remember entering. It was the first round, got past the first round, got to the second round, got mollywopped, big time. But it's okay.
Lost, got mollywopped.
For real. Because these were professional poets. And so, but the people that were putting on the competition saw something in me. And so they basically took me on their wing. They became my mentors. And then they helped coach me into, into getting into like slam poetry, doing more, poems for people outside of the church and things of that nature.
Now, for those that don't know, define slam poetry for those that are unaware. What's the difference between just regular poetry and slam poetry?
Gotcha. Perfect. Great question, DR. So, slam poetry is simply poetry that's done for a competition. It's no different. The poem itself is no different from any poem you would read at an open mic or at an event or at a convention or whatever. It's just that poem now is regulated to a competition. And a slam competition consists basically of people doing their work. They give you typically like 3 minutes with a 10-second grace period, so that's how much time you have to do your poem. And then there's random judges selected in the audience. Usually it's 5. And basically after you do your poem, it's like Olympic style judging. So they hold up these scorecards ranging from 0 to 10. And so typically they use decimal points, and granted, the perfect score, they drop the high and the low, and you get a 30 as the perfect score.
Oh, wow.
So essentially that is a slam competition. You're doing poems for scores, and usually there's maybe 2 or 3 rounds. And at the end of that, then they have a winner. Whoever has the highest score overall is the winner of that competition.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I've never heard of that type of format before.
Really?
And I know it's super popular, but but that's a unique way to judge.
It is. It is, especially because, like I said, it's essentially it's random people. You would think and usually in a judge format, you would have people who are professionals, right, in that field or some knowledge of it.
Right.
But the fact that these are just random people just off the street, going to attend the competition, and they're like, yeah, you could be a judge, because the whole thing is for them to be impartial.
Right.
And so if you're a good writer, a good performer, really a mixture of both, you should be able to wow these people. You should be able to put something in these people, the everyday person. Mm-hmm. And that's what is deemed to be, in that competition, a really good poet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you obviously this is your passion.
Yes.
One of your lifelong passions.
Yes.
Talk about you've made 2 albums and a DVD, Rise to the Illest.
Yes.
Talk to the audience about that.
Absolutely. My first album essentially was it was a recording. So my mentors that I told you, it was literally the first time that they booked me for a show. Mm. And so generally, you get, and I had no idea that this was a thing. Like, people make a living doing poetry. Right. But at the time, and I do that now, thank God.
Right.
But at the time, I knew nothing of it. I didn't know this. I thought it was a hobby for people. Right. They did it for fun, right. Sometimes or whatever. Teachers would do it during the summer when they're off, right. Whatever. I didn't know people actually make a living. And so they would bring in poets from all over the country to perform. And so they ended up saying, you know what, this particular month, you're going to be the performer. Mm-hmm. You're going to be the main person. I would go and I would read poems. And so I was the main performer. And so what happened was I said, well, if we're going to do that, I would love to record it. Mm-hmm. And so we just did a live recording of me doing my set. And that became my first album. And so then I did another album where actually recorded in the studio. And then the DVD was actually the first slam competition I ever joined, which was in Modesto. And the grand prize was $1,000. Okay. And so I'm a new cat. Again, these are all professional poets, touring poets. Right. And so I get up there.
Don't tell me you mollywopped them. Don't tell me you finally watched the professional.
I'm just saying. It was
don't tell me you got him.
It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. Like, no one thought I was gonna win, but your boy took number one spot.
That's what's
and
up.
So yeah, it ended up being, and my brother, who was a budding filmmaker at the time, he recorded everything, and so we just turned it into a DVD, and that's what happened.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Don't play with the boy.
Don't play with him.
Don't play with the boy. You know what I'm saying? He's serious about his craft. Don't play with the boy.
Here.
Even as an amateur, he was serious about his craft.
Absolutely.
Man, you have opened with your poetry for Common, Talib Kweli, Lupe Fiasco, Kirk Franklin, BBD, Faith Evans, all of these heavyweights, man. Talk to me about that experience and how did that come about? How did that opportunity even come about?
Bro, it's crazy. Like I said, I always give glory to God. So the openings came essentially, these were all took place in Stockton, where I was pretty much discovered poetry in Stockton. And so what happened was, as I started, advancing my career in poetry, and while I was there, even when I had moved to LA, the college there, University of the Pacific, it's a private college there, they would always do a Black History celebration. And so what happened was, whenever they do this Black History celebration, they'd always do a concert. And so they bring in a famous artist to come in. And so those times that I got to open Kirk Franklin, when it was Lupe, when it was Common, they basically asked me if I could open for these people and do poetry. And when I tell you,
and those are some of your favorite artists, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Those are like
absolutely.
artists that you really, really rock with.
Really
right?
respect. I mean, Common is low key one of my favorite rappers. He's one of my favorite rappers ever. I've always appreciated him for when he first came out, when he was going by Common Sense. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, he was always someone. So when that opportunity came, I was like, oh, this is bananas. Especially Kirk Franklin, the same thing. Like, I grew up in church. I love gospel music. Kirk Franklin was one of the best to ever do it. Right. I literally watched this documentary on the way over here, which is, I recommend watching because it's really dope.
It's a recent doc?
A recent doc. He discovered.
Is it on Netflix?
No, it's on YouTube. He discovered his dad, his real dad. He thought it was somebody else.
He's been talking about that for years.
Yes.
And because his dad is from Houston, or he's from Houston.
He's from Texas. It's a little town by Houston.
I
can't remember the name of it.
Okay, but I'm from Houston.
Yeah, exactly. But Texas for sure.
But he finally found his dad during this documentary.
Yes.
Or it's
so
about the time he did find his dad.
No, it all encapsulated. Basically, what he does is he finds out his mother's. It's a relative of his mother. His mother, he knew who his mother was, but he hadn't talked to her in 20 years. Mm. A relative of his mother passed away, and there was a funeral. Mm. He didn't go because he knew his mom was going to be there. He didn't want to deal with that. Mm. I guess a person there, a man that resembled him, said to someone in passing, "Hey, I used to date Deborah." That's the name of his mother. Right. I used to date Deborah. And so when that happened, that was a spark. Like, interesting. Used to date Deborah. Okay. And so wheels started turning. So then it turned into that person did a DNA test. And then they told Kirk he did a DNA test. They're like, you should do one too, just to see. He did a DNA test that compared it 99.999%. And the crazy thing is, he thought he had buried his father because he thought he knew who his father was. And his father passed away in 2017. That person. Who he thought was his father. And he was upset because he wasn't there, and on his deathbed he kind of was stuck. But they reconciled, but at the same time, he's thinking he's gone now.
So was it that his mother just didn't know, or she didn't tell him who his real father was?
She didn't believe it. She just didn't believe it. She just didn't believe that this other person who she was with a short period of time was Kirk's father. Even though obviously they had a relation, so it's possible.
Right.
But she just didn't believe it. Even when the DNA came, she didn't believe it. They did a second DNA test. I know we're going on a tangent here.
No.
But it was a second DNA test. And then you see he's talking to her, has the results for the second DNA test. She's like, I won't receive it.
But what?
Exactly.
But why not? Did she just not care for the guy who was his biological father?
I don't know.
Or was she just so much in love with the man that she was with?
They didn't really explore that, but the bottom line is Kirk is kind of pleading with her, basically saying, I need you to receive this. In order for us to have a relationship, I need for you to receive this. And she's just like, I can't. She's like, I can't. So you mean that drives a wedge between us? I was like, yes, because this is who this is. this is my father. And if you can't accept that, we can't go any further. And so she leaves without accepting it. And it says on the credits that he hasn't spoke to her since. Yeah, it's heavy, bro. It's heavy.
Wow.
It's heavy.
So you're telling me and we're going to get back to obviously your journey in a specific second, but you mean to tell me that one of the biggest gospel artists in the world, for years, at least 20 years now, has no relationship with his parents, or they don't want a relationship with him?
Well, not his mother. Now his dad, that he found out who his real dad is, they have started a relationship. Wow. But his mother, no. And he hadn't, because she put him up for adoption. Yeah, and she didn't want him, so she put him up for adoption. So that strained that whole situation, obviously. And then now that he tried to reconcile, and she just wouldn't accept it. Wow. But the dope part is, and through social media, we've seen that he had a strain with his oldest son, and that had come out. Right. And so through this whole situation, he got a chance to reconcile with his oldest son as well. Right. And so they show that footage as well. It's really, bro.
I'm gonna have to check it out. What's it called?
You got to check it out. It's called Father's Day. Father's Day, because that's the name of his new album. Okay. It's going to be Father's Day.
Shout out to Kirk Franklin, man. I can imagine going through that.
Bro.
Well, I have my own story as far as my biological father, but
which we talked about on the podcast.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we touched on it. Yeah. Shout out, Colors of Fatherhood, streaming everywhere.
Streaming everywhere. Colors of Fatherhood, and go check that out. He had me as a guest, as we mentioned earlier. It was a wonderful, wonderful interview.
Great episode.
Shout out to Colors of Fatherhood and Kirk Franklin. Keep your head up, man.
Yeah.
It's rough out here. These childhood traumas, man,
bro,
that we all go through. We all experience in some form, shape, form, or fashion. So talk to me about. Also, you opened up for the Chief Justice of Ghana.
Bro, that was
what was that? What was that about?
That was a surprise. I literally was doing a show. It was a show that I was contracted to do. I remember, I think it was at Sac State College in Sacramento State. And so the person that booked me, when I got there to do the performance, they were like, hey, just want to let you know that the Chief Justice of Ghana is here. And they'll be in the room when you're performing. I was like, what? Are you serious? And I had no idea. And I was like, I should have prepared different. Like, should have worn different. Like, I was just thinking, like, I was prepared because that's such a high esteem, honor, And so I was like, I was low key nervous, not of my ability, but just of that presence in the room.
And then they told you, like, right there on the spot,
I was going to perform.
You didn't have time to process.
No, but it ended up turning out really good, and I actually met her, and she was really beautiful and amazing, and she congratulated me on my work and all of that stuff. So it was really a dope experience, but definitely trying, as it was coming up, because it was a surprise at that point.
Right, gotcha. I guess, and those that's a blessing, not knowing until either the last minute or not knowing at all, because you don't really have a time to process it, and you can just focus on your craft, and not necessarily think about it until it's over.
Yep.
And you can replay it back in your head. You've represented numerous poetry slam teams over the years, obviously, as we've talked about, and you've won many championships as a solo poet. I was watching your clips, and one of the things that I like is the variation in your poetry style.
Yes.
You can go from serious, super serious, as we saw in the I Am poem, by the way, which, bravo.
Thank you.
I love.
Thank you.
Speaking on Black injustices and our position as Black men and women in America. But you can switch it up. You can go from serious to humorous to passionate to inspirational to entertainment. You can jump around quite nicely.
Yes.
In your style. So when you were selected for season 3 and season 5 of Verses and Flow, there was one particular piece that you did that I want to show the audience. I want to show the audience real quick. As a matter of fact, before I do that, I want to show the Survivor clip real quick.
She nervously picks up her phone on her way out the door. Palms dripping with wet anxiety. She's been waiting for this call seemingly her whole life. As she's getting her results, her face contorts into a mask, trying to shield the pain resonating on the outside. Her lungs tighten, asphyxiating the hope she used to have. Women's intuition told her that something was wrong with her body, but she never thought it was capable of being this judgmental. The verdict was in: inflammatory breast cancer. Those 3 words hit like shots in an innocent person's back. Why me? Whispered from her lips. Claustrophobia hugged her like an itchy blanket. All she could do was run, thinking she could escape her diagnosis, but this nightmare was real. This special type of cancer affects less than 5% of those who will receive the disease. It is predominantly found in women of color and has shark-like aggression, meaning once it is detected, it may already be too late. How did she get so lucky? She shuffles to the doctor's office, hoping to find a glimmer of optimism, but discovers none. He tells her that she has less than a 50% chance of survival, that it would probably be a waste of resources to receive treatment, because what is the use of holding on to a possibility? She walks out of the room, numb and frostbitten from the cold words that just passed retribution on her life. She is reminded that she is not alone. Not only is she supported by the man who has known her for over 25 years, but she's also comforted by the man who has known her before the foundation of this world. Her heart begins to cry out behind the damaged flesh. Prayers go up in the fetal position. Chemotherapy starts. This process kills both bad and good cells, but when your health is locked in a cage, there's no such thing as bad and good cells. So she perseveres. Fatigue settles in like an uninvited guest. Needles become family members. She loses all the hair on her head, but never loses all the faith in her God. It's now time to operate and take away the black hole lying beneath her skin. Can you imagine losing the very part of your anatomy that defines your womanhood? Being a mother and having your child's lifeline removed from its rightful place. Separation anxiety sets in momentarily until she realizes that no matter what she looks like, she is still fearfully and wonderfully made, that her feminine identity was never in jeopardy, nor was her will to stay alive. The way I see it is God just wanted to have a clear path to truly touch her heart. Gina Marie Jocko overcame her infectious adversary and now lives each moment in healed satisfaction. She is a testimony that when life has altered its course, if you take your direction from the sky, you will always make it to the end of your journey.
Hot fire.
Man,
Hot fire. Man.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Boy. Let me cool you off, bro.
Oh, stop, man. Stop.
Cool you off, boy.
Stop.
Ooh. Hey, listen. How long ago was that?
That performance was 10 years ago. It was
Okay.
2013.
Okay, so this man been in the game for a minute, y'all. Like we
Over
said.
20 years.
Listen, this man been in the game for years. Don't play with him. You hear me? He's been doing this for a while. He does this. But I want to go back to that. I wanted to show that clip so that I can show the audience the different styles and the different ways that you're able to weave and bob through certain subjects.
Yes.
And when you were booked for season 3 and season 5 of Verses and Flow, you gave a totally different poetic performance.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to show that clip as well.
Sure.
And then we'll go from there.
Are y'all ready to experience this? Yeah! Let's get it going. Like many of us back in high school, our first artist wrote love poems for girls that he was too shy to talk to. And like many of us, me, he didn't get that much play. Now this Stockton, California native has become a nationally known slam champion with 2 CDs and a documentary of his work. He's come a long way. Please welcome to the stage, The Saint.
I love poem. I study the outline of her curves. Her skin glistens as she lies prostrate. So delicate, so refined, my mouth waters. I call her my maple brown sugar. Her scent is intoxicating. The attitude she has can get spicy at times, but handle the heat. I want to make her a part of everything I partake in. I desire to ingest all of who she is. Who am I speaking of? My girlfriend? The woman of my dreams? Nah. I'm simply talking about one of the greatest joys of my existence. Bacon. Yes, the candy of meats. The perfect marriage of pork belly and sodium nitrates. Derived from the German word Backo, this is meat that simply makes people smile. Previously seen as a meat accompanied to eggs and toast, it is skyrocketed to the top of the proverbial food chain. It comes in many different cuts and form. Side bacon, cottage bacon, jowl bacon, collar bacon, but the most common is the streaky bacon, which makes those thin, glorious strips of heaven. Bacon, the best thing that's ever happened to a cheeseburger. What takes an ordinary baked potato to something out of this world? Bacon. The Irish call it a rasher. Canadians call it Canadian bacon. I just simply call it a party in my mouth. It is the tasty blanket for scallops and asparagus. You crush it in a tiny fragment salad. All of the world want to join forces with it. It is the only sandwich so cool, it goes with just 3 little letters, BLT, bacon. It is constantly breaking barriers. The Baconator from Wendy's sold 25 million in his first 8 weeks. Why? Because it came with 6 strips of bacon. That's why. Who can resist that? I mean, seriously. Would you eat residue from a cooked steak? How about drippings from a baked fish? Of course not. But bacon fat? Not only is it used as a base to make another things from gravy to cornbread. In the South, I swear, it's used to cure 39 different diseases. Ask my grandma. Whether it's peppered or deep fried, baked on a pizza or up to the hot dog, you call it pancetta or call me when it's frying in a pan. I love it. The only time you will see me turn up my nose in disgust, or I will ever prejudice rise up in my heart, is when you mention the term turkey bacon. Something I believe Satan created to keep people in darkness and away from the truth. Its origin is clear. Its message is founded. It is becoming our national meat, but more than that, it's already a national treasure. Bacon, it just makes everything better.
Give it up for the saint, everybody.
Now, listen, I was with you. I was with you for the most part.
For the most part.
For the most part. As a man who ain't ate pork in 25 years, I was still with you till you went in on my turkey bacon. Why you got to go in on my turkey bacon, bro? Nah, blasphemy.
It was how I was feeling at the time.
Turkey bacon is the only bacon in my eyes.
No, I feel it. I mean, obviously this is a while ago. When I first wrote it, it was like turkey bacon was trash.
Right.
Like, let's keep it real.
They hadn't perfected the recipe just yet.
There you go. It was trash. And so I'm like, as a connoisseur of real bacon,
right.
I'm like, what is this, imposter situation?
Right.
And so that's why I was in the poem.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like the vegan thing taking
exactly.
off now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when it came out, because they got some great vegan food.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because when it first came, I'm like,
yeah,
a plant-based burger.
What is this?
What is
Garbage.
this? Stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's that? Slutty Vegan down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Have you had that burger?
I have not, but I've heard it.
Oh my God.
I heard it's amazing.
Oh my God.
I've heard it's amazing.
It is, bruh. Not just their burgers, their banana pudding, their peach cobbler.
What?
It's all vegan and
it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Are they just in Atlanta?
I think they opened one in New York.
Okay, they haven't got this way yet.
No, they haven't got this way.
Oh, okay.
Y'all, if y'all watch this podcast, y'all need to come out to Cali. open up in LA.
Come out.
You get a lot of business.
You will get a lot of business.
Their vegan food is probably the best I've tasted.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've heard great
Long time.
things. I've heard great things.
So yeah, I wanted to let the audience get a sense of your versatility.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go based off how you're feeling in the moment when you write your poems? Like, what inspires a poem for you?
It's a good question. It could be a number of things.
A subject matter.
Yeah, it could be a number of things. I typically don't want to write unless I'm inspired. Let me say it like that. Because I feel like if you write when you're not inspired, I don't feel the truth comes out, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and no shade to people that, write just contracts and stuff like that. And I've been a contract writer. I've written for things that I've been asked to write. But I don't, that's something I do, but I would have never done when I was early writer. Obviously now that I have some years behind me, I can do that and know that it's okay, this is for a certain thing. But if I'm writing poems for myself, and something that, it has to come from inspiration. It's something that touches me. It could be something that offends me. It could be something that I love. It could be my faith. I mean, I'm drawing from inspiration. And I feel like most writers do that as well. They draw from inspiration. Most poets, I should say. Most poets draw from inspiration. And so, yeah, it's whatever I'm inspired. And I think my versatility, I've always wanted to be versatile because I feel like I want my writing to mirror the type of person I am. I feel like I'm not a one type of person, one trick pony. I'm very much a multifaceted individual. I have a lot that, is about me, a lot that, encompasses my personality.
Right.
And so I want that to reflect in my writing. Yeah, sometimes I'm goofy. And so, I have poems that are goofy, sometimes I'm serious. Sometimes I'm definitely all about my blackness and my roots. And so I want to write about that. My faith comes out and I write about that because I'm very much a man of faith. So, I've been in love and I've not been in love. And so I want to write about those things and channel those things and writing and a lot more.
It's no different than a musician, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Expresses himself.
Yes, absolutely. And writing is very therapeutic too.
Right.
So just like you said, you brought up a great thing. Some of the greatest songs that we've heard come from different facets of that particular singer or musician.
Right.
They wrote this
season
right, exactly. Whatever they have going on, they could be super, super sad, and they write this super sad song, and it becomes a hit, and everyone loves it because they resonate with it,
right.
Or they're very happy, or they, whatever the situation is,
right.
And so they're drawing from where they are at that time, and that's how I write.
Awesome. That is very introspective, man. But yeah, that's probably the most probably successful, not just poems, but songs as well, or songs that people can actually relate to.
Yes.
And they can feel. Relatability, I tell people all the time, relatability is the biggest attraction in people's work.
Sure.
If people can relate, that's why some people are so successful on social media, because they put relatable skits that we go through or we experience in our lives every single day.
Comedians the same thing.
Comedians is the same thing.
They talk about things that are relatable and it's funny and you're just like, oh my gosh,
they do it in a comedic way.
Yes.
Right. So we know that you're a poet, obviously, but you have dipped your toe in the hosting game as well.
Yes.
You've hosted some very interesting projects throughout the years for some pretty significant networks. You've done hosting gigs for VH1, Fox, MTV, and the AfterBuzz Network. Talk to me about your hosting abilities.
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about the journey as well.
What got you into that?
Absolutely. So actually, I moved to LA. The move to LA was to get into radio TV hosting. That was the reason. It was two reasons. It was to get into radio TV hosting and expand my brand in poetry. So I had the poetry thing going on, and I was like, there's something else that I feel like I need to how to express myself. And so I had done some things, locally in Stockton, and I was like, and people were like, you're really good at that. I actually hosted an open mic for 3 years in Stockton before I left. And so, and there's some other things that I did, obviously in church, a lot of that came out. And so I was like, I really want to pursue this professionally. So I knew that LA was a great market to do so. And so I decided to come here, and immediately I got, connected to AfterBuzz TV, which was an entertainment podcast network. And so basically we would cover television shows or movies. I typically stuck with the television shows. And so you would pick a show that you like and you'd watch it and you have a panel and you discuss it, after the show. You'd bring guests on from the network, and that's how I got connected. I didn't host with MTV, but I was connected to them because we would bring in guests from MTV.
Gotcha.
So we had to work with their publicists, their managers, the people themselves, the talent, and work with them to get them on the show. So I developed great relationships with those networks. I did end up hosting, for those of you who know Love and Hip Hop, I did host a Love and Hip Hop podcast for VH1. It was short-lived. They ended up moving it to New York, but that was really fun because, you know, we got to talk about the show, and the show is, as you know, it's really ratchet. And so I got to tap into the ratchet side of me, and, you know, there's a multifaceted part again, and kind of talk about those things and the characters on the show, cast members, and all of that. So it's definitely been a journey. I hosted another thing which connected me to the poetry groups, which was called The Wait. And that was something, so here in LA, pretty much one of the biggest weekly poetry open mics is called The Lounge, the Poetry Lounge. And it's located on Fairfax and Melrose. They use the Greenway Court Theater. And so every Tuesday night they have an open mic, and it's really fresh. And so what I did was I would host what is called The Wait, because they used to, this is prior to the pandemic, they would have a large line waiting to get in on Tuesday nights. And so what I would do is I would have a cameraman with me, and I would just interview people from the line. And I'd interview them about their life, about poetry, about what brings them to this, you know, particular event. And so that was really fun.
Anything that would expose your talents and your hosting.
Exactly. And both of those work. Exactly. So I was always just looking for different things. And then I had a great time at AfterBuzz, but unfortunately because of the pandemic, it went under, so it didn't recover. And so I wanted to keep doing it, you know, at a high level. And so that's when I started my podcast, Colors of Fatherhood. And that's how that was born.
And we'll get into that.
Absolutely.
And guess what? He was great at hosting as well. Let's check out his reel.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your host, The Saint. We are here for another episode of The Wait. And I'm your host, Lim Gonsalves. I'm here, and you can find me all day, every day at The Poet Saint. Someone that's going to come to the Poetry Lounge for the first time, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to bring food, whether it's, I don't know, you can go on the post page.
No, we'll get right into it. So it was the game, and this one was, I was kind of disappointed in the title, because we usually have these bomb titles, and it's like, anything for love. I was like, wah, wah, wah. You heard the song playing, right?
Yeah.
That's my man.
Is that song right there?
What's the name of the song?
Party different.
Hey!
And we can maybe
Oh my goodness!
here.
We need some like soft music.
I know.
We actually have some people that are going to be joining us in 2 seconds. You know, they said I couldn't do poetry, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna host it. That's what I'm gonna do. Or do both. Or do both. 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 With an F. With an F. Both. My man, this is Dr. Javon Johnson, about to rip the stage. Black Hollywood Live. Peace. There it is. Next number.
21.
21. Most embarrassing moments.
When I farted really loud in the 6th grade.
I also like the fact you said giddy, because I haven't heard that in so long. But yeah.
I know, it makes you say things you wouldn't normally say.
It makes you say giddy. That's how amazing the show is. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing out there? This is your host, Lim Gonsalves, always here. So getting the call from Versus and Flow, what made you want to come do this show specifically?
Man, all you have to do is just look around. I mean, you got Joe here, who I grew up to. You got Ro here, who is my ace. You got Kevin Ross here, who I better go before, because he might be the best singer on the bill tonight.
Did you always want to be a pastor? Like, is that what you sought out to be? Like at 3 years old, were you I want to be a pastor?
Man, that's a great question. No. Why would anybody want to be a pastor?
Gentlemen, the wait is over. Let's get inside where it's warm so we can hear some dope poetry.
Lim Gonsalves, everybody.
Hey.
Look at the talent. Look at the talent. Hey, listen, somebody out there hire that man.
Right.
Y'all done seen the work. All you studio executives, producers, cast, and directors, I know we on strike right now. That ain't the point.
Right.
You done seen the work. You done seen the talent. Hire him before you try to take my job. Don't come over here and try to take my job.
No, this is all you.
Don't come over here and try
I'm not taking your job.
You got your own podcast.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Got enough to handle.
You got your own podcast.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of which, let's talk about for a brief second Colors of Fatherhood.
Absolutely.
What inspired you to specifically speak about fatherhood in the Black community, the Black male figure of fatherhood? Why center your podcast specifically around that?
Right. Great question. So essentially it was twofold. What I did was, as I mentioned, the pandemic hit, so I wanted to do my own podcast, and I was trying to figure out, there's obviously a slew of subjects or topics that you could do, and I wanted to do something that was meaningful and that was underrepresented. And so I kind of started doing my research, and so I picked fatherhood number one, and I looked up to see what kind of podcasts on fatherhood. I saw a few, but then specifically I looked for Black fatherhood or fathers of color, and I didn't see hardly anything. And so I was like, oh, that's my niche. And so, but before I decided to pull the trigger, I wanted to check because I'm not a father. And so I don't have any children. I've been a father figure to some people, and they look at me, I'm a great uncle, all those kind of things. I have a great father, but I am not a father myself. I don't have any children. And so
now just to pause for a quick second.
Sure.
Would you mind explaining why yet? Is it a personal choice, or is it like
why
you haven't met the right woman?
Oh, gotcha.
Or is it you would like to wait? Because I believe you would make an awesome father, my man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I see father all over you. See, ladies, I think, listen, let me tell y'all how hard dating in LA is. We might get into that subject.
Right.
But I can kind of assume that's a small part of it. Is that the LA dating scene?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough.
Just to answer your question, I always wanted to be married when I was a dad. And so I wanted to wait till marriage to have children. That was always my goal. And so unfortunately, I haven't got, to that part of my life. Gotcha. And so because that hasn't happened yet, that's why I'm not a dad.
Gotcha.
That's pretty much the simple answer.
And nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So ladies, watching this podcast, you got a single, eligible, handsome, talented man of God. Man of God. Waiting for the right woman.
Right.
Hey, listen, we're going to get to your, we're gonna get to your socials and your dating show now. And your personal information. I just want y'all to look out for my man, because I know what's sitting next to me. Like, they always talking about they can't find a good man. Right. Ain't no godly man, ain't no men, they can't find no good man. I got one sitting right here, ladies. But to finish your question about fatherhood, the Colors of Fatherhood podcast.
So, essentially, I saw that there was a need. Like I said, I'm not a dad, so I was like, let me ask some of my partners that are dads and just ask them, what they feel about me not being a dad, doing a father podcast on fatherhood. And so they basically, both of them, I asked two individuals, good friends of mine. One of them was actually Javon, who you saw on the clip there. And they said, do it. You're bringing an objective viewpoint of fatherhood. You're an interviewer. So you're obviously going to have a guest every episode, which I do, that are dads. So you're simply asking them questions, and then you're giving an objective viewpoint, and you can still speak on father because, again, you are a son.
Right.
You have a father. You know other fathers. Right. You can speak to that. And so you've seen the whole gamut. So just because you're personally not a dad doesn't mean that you can't hold that. And so that's when, all right, bet. And so that's when I decided to do it. And like I said, I did it for two reasons. One, I wanted to basically shine a light on fathers of color and dispel the myth that Black fathers specifically are not in the homes, because that's not true.
Not true.
And so are not involved with their children.
Right.
That's not true. And then two, I wanted for people like myself who are not fathers yet, who do want to be fathers, to give them essentially people that can, bring that message and talk about that, and that you gain something from. And from what's being said on the podcast, the questions being asked and things of that nature. And I will say, I'm 5 seasons deep now, 5 seasons deep, excuse me. And I've learned so much about fatherhood from these men that, and everyone has a different story.
Right.
No one podcast is the same. No one episode's the same. They don't all have happy endings. It's not all cookie cutter.
Right.
But it's real, and I get to learn from the good and the bad, from these men that have endured fatherhood and are still enduring it as well. So
I'm one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I thank God for everything that my children have taught me.
Yeah.
Fatherhood has taught me. It is definitely grows you into a man. It turns you into a man. Almost immediately. That's awesome. If I can go find a clip once I edit this, I'll throw a clip of the show in there.
Oh, I'll send you that's what I neglected to do. I have of the show.
Okay.
A reel trailer from the show.
Yeah, a reel.
Yes.
Okay,
I can do that.
Awesome. So, Colors of Fatherhood podcast, and last but not least, you've done some commercial acting, done some commercial work.
A little bit.
You can throw actor on the resume as well. Man, this is a man of many talents, and I just want to thank you for giving your talents to the world and exposing how awesome slam poetry can be to those out there who are not familiar with it. Let them know where they can, one, book you.
Yeah.
Give them all your socials.
Absolutely.
Twitter, Facebook, whatever you use. And then two, let them know where they can find some of your work, and let them know what you're possibly working on, getting ready to work on, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, DR, thank you for this platform. Appreciate it. So you can find me everywhere on all social media handles. Stay on the mic. That's my social media. You might have seen something different, but those are older. I've since changed it, but it's Stay on the Mic. That's my social media handle. And to book me, the email is saintlybooking@gmail.com. So saintly, SAINTLY, booking@gmail.com. So you can use that email address if you want to book me for anything, a show, you want a sermon, a bar mitzvah, doesn't matter. I do it all. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting ready to do a grandma's birthday this Sunday. no lie. Like it's not a game.
Hey, it's not a game.
Whatever.
And we're gonna put all your information on the screen.
Exactly. Absolutely appreciate it.
So everybody can reach you. And last but not least, before we go into the second hour, where we're gonna let our hair down and we're gonna co-host a little bit and just have some fun with social media. Freestyle for him. Give me just 10, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. Of something for your fans, for the audience, off the top of the dome. Just we gotta do it, man. I gotta get you live while I got you live on the set.
All right.
Give them that hot fire, just like 30 seconds, something.
Okay. To the guy who got my family member pregnant and said he could care less about taking responsibility. How can you call yourself a father? Biologically, your son is connected to you, but like faulty wires, you bring shock. It's your behavior, your immaturity. It's priceless. A child wrapped in adult skin, you take drugs to numb your growing pains. Disappointment dressed in a 3-piece suit, your kid anticipates your arrival like Confederates did docking slave ships, yet reparations will come before you do. You treat your women like casualties, scoping your next target like snipers in Vietnam or in DC, murdering hopes and dreams that they were tracks in a studio when promises come out of your mouth. They are broken like levees in New Orleans. You must have an organ owner sticker on your driver's license because your heart has got to be missing.
Ain't that what y'all do?
They do that. Yep.
That's what's up. Everybody, the multi-talented poet, host, podcast host, actor, Mr. Lim Gonsalves. Everybody. What's up? This ad is sponsored by BetterHelp. What it do, everybody? This your boy DR Bellard. I know you're enjoying the interview, but we're going to take a small break. I want to talk to you today about therapy, specifically BetterHelp Therapy, an online therapy site that has the game on lock. Listen, everybody goes through their season where they feel like they need somebody to talk to, somebody to vent to about life, because guess what? Life be lifing. BetterHelp Therapy has you covered. And I'm going to tell you why. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you 4 specific reasons why. Number 1, it's professional. All therapists are licensed, accredited professionals. BetterHelp allows you to connect with them in a safe and convenient online environment. Number 2, it's affordable. Pay a low flat fee for both live sessions as well as messaging with your therapist. Therapy does not have to be expensive. Believe me, I know. Number 3, it's convenient. Do it at your own time, at your own pace. Communicate with your therapist as often as you want, whenever you feel it's needed. And last but not least, probably the most important one, number 4, it's effective. Thousands of people have benefited from therapy. Just check out the reviews on BetterHelp.com. You'll see for yourself. With BetterHelp, you can switch therapists at any point if you don't feel like you're getting enough benefit from your therapist or getting the results that you want. See? Simple. And on top of that, they partner with your boy, Narrow Path. Put in the promo code NarrowPath, BetterHelp.com/NarrowPath. It's right here at the bottom or on the side, probably right here at the bottom. Either way, you see it, use it, and you get a discount on your membership. That's what we're doing. They're rocking with your boy. I'm rocking with y'all. Rock with your boy too. BetterHelp.com. I'm telling you, the therapy is amazing. I've used it in the past and it helped me tremendously. Back to the show. Narrow Path. Rock with your boy DR out. Now, let's transition.
Let's do it.
I want y'all to get to know my man Lim on a little bit of a personal level and, get his thoughts and opinions on some things that's going on in the world.
Absolutely.
In the world. First on the docket, I found this social media reel about people in your life. Your day ones versus your day twos. Let's watch the video and then we'll come back and get your thoughts on that.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer in day twos. We all got day ones.
Yeah.
We grew up out the sandbox. We done shared chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
We done shared a snack box. But I believe in day twos.
Yeah.
In the day ones, you didn't get to choose those people. They were attached to you based on your environment, based on your circumstance. Right. And usually the language of day ones is survival. Usually the conversations with your day ones is about stuff we used to do and the silly things we did. And oh my God, you remember that time? Your day twos are from different places, so it's intentional. Your day twos, y'all speak the language of thriving. How do we excel and expand? How do we add value to each other? How can I help and support? And so I believe you need that. The way you got a right hand and a left hand, you need day ones to keep you grounded and let you know where you come from. But you need day twos that are going to push you.
Absolutely.
And challenge you.
Absolutely.
And stretch you.
Talk to me about your day ones and your day twos. Do you have any day ones in your life?
I do.
And day twos?
I do.
And who you would consider day twos?
Yeah. I did see that clip, by the way, so I can definitely speak to that. So my day ones, basically, I have a few still in my life. I would say right now, who's in my life now actually live in LA. I'm here in LA because of my day ones. One of them was my cousin. He's actually a fellow actor as well. He's been doing this thing for years and years. Shout out to Robbie Jones. He's phenomenal. Very talented. So we grew up together. Even though we're family, we grew up together. We're close to the same age. So I've known him his whole life, obviously, and we used to kick it, as we did, kids did, spent the night over at house, playing video games, all that kind of stuff, birthday parties. And he's always just been on my corner. And I remember, he was playing hoop and I would follow his journey playing hoop. And then he went to college playing hoop, would watch his games, go to his games, and then came over to LA and then just got on the acting scene. And so we still talk to this day. And one thing that I appreciate about him is I agree with the clip about keeping you grounded, because that is true. Your day ones keep you grounded. I would say also, for me, I'll just put my family. Like, you can't get any bigger, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't care what you do. You could, you know what I'm saying, go to the moon. Right? And your family's gonna be like, man, that's just
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
family would definitely keep you humble.
They will keep you humble.
In one way or another.
Yes, but I agree with what he said in the clip about day ones, because that's true too, because they have known you your whole life or most of your life. Right. And so, but yeah, I appreciate my day ones. Another one is Reese. We all grew up in Sacramento, California, back in the day, and he's here in LA too. And so we talk often as well. And so again, it just goes back to, you do talk about things of the past because you're reminiscing and things of that nature, but I appreciate them. And I have day twos, and my day twos, you met some of them. These are the brothers at my church. A lot of them have it's been great. And what I appreciate about them is I've always looked for, and that's why I go to the church that I go to, is because they have a strong male presence there. And I wanted to be around and hang around godly men that I could, basically talk to about anything, but also at the end of the day, they're going to give me great advice because, we serve the same God. And so, and those I would consider my day twos. We play cards, we hang out, we do all the things together, obviously go to church, spend time. We talk a lot, about serious things. They talk to me about being single and, my bride and what I should be looking for because they're married, most of them. And so they can speak to that. And I appreciate it. And so I would count them as my day twos, but I think you do need, one thing I agree with him is you do need both of them.
Right.
And if you have both of them, you should cherish that.
Right. Interesting perspective. Yep, definitely. I feel like I believe in day ones and day twos. I just feel like your day ones can become your day twos if they evolve and grow with you.
Boom.
If they don't evolve and grow with you, then they stay day ones, but they stay kind of in a box.
Right.
Because we compartmentalize. We all, at some point in time, compartmentalize our friends. Like we have friends that we talk to about serious things. We have friends we party with. We have friends we hang out with. We have friends, that you just put people in different boxes, in different friends groups. And at the end of the day, life is all about evolution and growing. And if people don't grow with you, then unfortunately you have to leave them behind. And then you end up meeting day twos, people who, you meet maybe in your adult journey, who relate to you on a certain level and can hold you down on a certain level that your day ones can't necessarily, for whatever reason, do. Your day ones may be from childhood.
Yep.
So yeah, I firmly believe in day ones and day twos. My day ones, I feel like I've known my day ones since almost 30 years now, from the military. Ramel, Larry, just a lot of guys, Jerome, Lamar. I could go on and on. I got about 4 or 5 of them. I consider day ones, but typically, they're my day ones for a reason, and they have grown and evolved with me. That's why they're still in my circle. Yeah. Because I keep my circle pretty tight. But yeah, I feel like he has a very interesting point. The comment section says, some of the comments says, this is legitimately what I needed. That survivor remorse so real. You feel a way around your day twos, like you ain't keeping it real enough, but the twos so solid that they'll help you work through that and not feel a way about it.
That's a good point. I also want to add too, it's okay to release some of your day ones.
Oh yeah.
And I
it's
think,
hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard.
It's hard, but you got to say
it's tough and hard at the same time. But yeah, it is hard. But I think, and that's something that I've learned, and probably within the last, I would say probably within the last 5 or 6 years, because I feel like I'm a very loyal person, and so if I've had a friend for 20 years, I feel like they should always be my friend. I'm the same you know what I mean? And so why would I let them go, or why would I, I'm not going to do anything, obviously intentionally to hurt them or whatever, that we would have funk or beef or anything like that. Right. But I think I've learned, again, in the last 6 years or so, especially, LA has taught me a lot just living here as a single man, trying to pursue a dream. You learn a lot. Right. And so what I learned is people, if they don't support you, what is the purpose for them? And so what I learned was I had these day ones that known for 20 plus years, but they're not supporting me and my dream and what I'm trying to do. Right. They're minimizing it and saying, oh yeah, that's cute, or, your little goals, or, doing those kind of things and just not believing in me. And my thing is if you're supposed to be my friend and you're supposed to show me love, why are you doing that? Right. And so what I learned is if they're not supporting you, why are you keeping them around? Right. They're just going to be toxic.
Most people aren't going to support you until they see it's popular to support you.
Sure.
And I tell a lot of people too, family and friends aren't going to make you famous or rich, strangers will. And even though it hurts to not have the family support that you need or that you internally crave, as we all do, it stings. It really does. But we have to look beyond that, and we have to feel like, okay, my purpose is greater than this small group of people not supporting me. But it hurts because you feel like I hold you down a certain way, you should hold me down a certain way.
Exactly.
I support you a certain way, you should support me a certain way.
That part.
But everybody can't see the vision.
Right.
And that's what the problem is.
Sure. And I don't expect it from acquaintances. Like, I don't. Like, if these are people that are just in my circle because, they're adjacent to me because we work together or we go to church together or go to the same coffee shop or whatever, I don't expect anything from them. But if I have history with someone and they say that they love me and they're my friend or they're my family, then I expect, I'm hoping that they would do that for me.
Absolutely.
And so the ones that I'm still day ones with are the ones that, when you talk about evolving, they have evolved, and they have children and family, and their perspective is different and they're continually growing. But at the end of the day, they're still supporting me. They're still showing me love and support, and which is what I need. And I'm doing the same thing for them.
Right. Absolutely. In that regards, in that aspect, I definitely agree with you. So it just sucks, man. We're in the field, we're creatives, and it's just something that everybody goes through. Like, nobody can see your vision because God gave it to us.
Yes.
God gave us the vision.
Correct.
So nobody else can see it until you actually go out and accomplish it. And then everybody wants to say, oh, I've always supported you.
Oh, I've known it. I've known you were going to be big.
I'm just so proud of you. No, they weren't proud of you. They were just surprised to see that you've done what you said you were going to do.
Exactly.
They're surprised that you keep making it happen. So you just gotta filter them out.
Right.
Interesting perspective. Our next story, video surveillance caught 2 TSA agents stealing out of passengers' bags inside of Miami airport, and they ran off with $500 or $600.
Oh, wow.
This is wild. I definitely have a grind about this, something that grinds my gears. Check this out.
Also caught on camera, 2 TSA agents at Miami International Airport accused of stealing from travelers they were hired to protect. The agents are seen at security checkpoints taking money from a passenger's wallet and then putting something in their pocket. But as CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten reports, there are precautions you can take to protect your valuables.
We trust that TSA got it and they wouldn't do anything wrong, tamper with my stuff.
Travelers surprised to hear that 2 TSA agents are accused of stealing from passengers at MIA's E-checkpoint. The state attorney's office released this video. Here we see agents concentrating on this bag. Moments later, we watch as one of them puts his hand in his pocket. According to the police report, the pair is accused of removing $600 from a passenger's wallet while the passenger was in the screening process.
I think they have a lot of nerve because don't they realize that they're on camera? These are places that are monitored so much that, what are they thinking? They're going to be seen doing what they're doing.
Josue Gonsalves and Liberius Williams were arrested and charged in the case back in July. The police report said they would distract passengers as they were being screened to steal monies from their belongings. Here's more surveillance video where we see a TSA agent appear to unzip a bag and pull something out, then meet up with it before going into X-ray and again putting his hands in his pocket.
Before I reach the security area, I take off my watch and take off my ring and my phone, my wallet, and put it inside my bag. And I never lose sight of my bag.
Former Miami-Dade Police Major Ignacio Alvarez tells us to keep his belongings safe, he never places valuables out in the open on trays. Instead, puts them in his bag, watches it, and takes inventory after going through security.
After I clear security, I go through my bag and get everything back out. I get my wallet, I get my watch, I get my phone, I get my cash, and put it back in my pockets and go to make sure nothing is missing.
In a statement, TSA said in part that it has no tolerance for misconduct in the workplace, saying any employee who fails to meet our fundamental ethical standards is held accountable. To see TSA's full response, you can go to our website, cbsmiami.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out the safety tips that we have there. More ways of keeping your belongings safe.
Wild.
Wow.
Listen, man, I always knew something fishy was going on. And I knew this for a fact. Let me single me out. I knew this for a fact when I went through the airport. I forgot where I was flying, but I picked up my luggage and all of my cigars were gone from my luggage. All of my cigars. Gone.
Missing.
Took them all.
Wow.
I'm talking very expensive cigars. I was so upset. I'm talking like a pack of 12 cigars.
Really?
Were gone from my luggage. And I was so upset, but I was in such a hurry too. And I couldn't like I had to get where I was going because I was already running late. And I couldn't like file a report, file a complaint, whatever the case may be. But them TSA agents took my stuff.
Wow.
I know they did. And these guys, like, you gotta be crazy. There are cameras everywhere. Like they said in the report, there are cameras everywhere. Why would you think you would be able to get away with something like this? Especially on a federal job. Like, you're gonna do some years.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna do anywhere from 2 to 3 years. This is a federal crime.
Bro, that's crazy. Yeah,
have you ever had anything stolen?
I have not had anything stolen, but I've definitely had, well, there's two things. I've definitely had where you have something that you've purchased like overseas, and then you bring it out, and let's say it's not wrapped correctly, or what they say they want,
right?
And they say, oh, you can't take this,
right?
So they confiscate it, they keep it,
right?
And then what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? You have you can't do anything unless you could put it in your, somewhere to put it in your main luggage, and so, but where does that go? Obviously, they keep it. And I remember specifically, I was traveling with a female friend of mine, and we went to Colombia, and we stopped through El Salvador, and they took all of her perfume.
All of it.
All of it. And they said, I'm sorry, this can't go. And it was expensive stuff, and she was pissed, but there was nothing she could do. And so they kept it, and it was just like, oh, this is messed up. And specifically, I just was in Vegas, excuse me, this week. And when I was coming back on the flight, flying back from Vegas to LAX, this was just yesterday, I just got back yesterday. I always take my wallets through the scanner with me.
Okay.
So I have pre-check. I think you should get it. If you don't have pre-check, definitely get it, because it's $85 for 5 years. It's worth it. You got to take off your shoes and all that kind of stuff. Right. I keep my hat on, all that kind of stuff. But what I do is I put, the stuff that's going to go through the scanner. I put that on there. I don't keep any money or anything in my bags. But I always take my wallet and I walk it with it. And so sometimes they'll be like, oh, no, I'm going to do that. Right. And a matter of fact, there was this guy, TSA agent, he's like, no, you got to put that in. I was like, no, I don't. Right. And so I took it and I walked through, and what they'll do is they'll look through it, after I walk through it. That's fine. You can look through it and check to make sure there's nothing wrong. Right. They give it back to me, and then I'm on my way. Right. But I purposely do that because I don't want anybody to take my wallet or money out of my wallet. Right. So the fact that, they're putting their pocketbooks down and they're taking money out of it, bro, that's messed up. And that's exactly why I don't do what I do.
Let me tell you
that's
something.
Why I roll the way I roll.
If I put my wallet, if I got cash in my wallet, I know I got a significant amount of cash in my wallet, I'm calling it out. Hey, I got $200 in this wallet. Before I put it, I'm letting everybody here know I got $200 and 5 credit cards, debit cards in this wallet. And if it's not there when it comes through this scanner, we're going to have a problem.
We're going to have a problem.
We're going to have a problem. We're going to move some furniture around here. Something's going to happen. But that's just dirty, man. And we can't put it all on the TSA agents. It's the bag handlers, too.
That's true.
When you check your bags, and it goes through the all the way to the plane and stuff, they be digging through the bag. That's where they stole. That's where they stole my cigars.
Those are the check bag.
It was a check bag, but they still took them.
Got it.
It was a check bag, but they still got it.
No, so, I've heard stories of that too.
Yeah,
and people going through the check bag.
The baggage handlers, they definitely go through the check bag. So it's just a shame, man. You shouldn't have to steal from nobody like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a good federal job, a good government job. Why would you do that?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like you work for the government. You got good benefits. I don't know what TSA agents make, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you got a decent job. Why are you going to ruin it stealing on camera?
Crazy.
Also, there's other things you can do to prevent, like, locks on your, luggage and stuff like that. But again, it just goes back to why should you have to do that?
Right.
Because you're trusting these people who work, they're supposed to work for you.
Right.
So.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
That's wild, bro. Right on the camera. Digging through her wallet.
Like,
distracting the customer, and then taking the money.
Like there ain't 1,000 cameras in that
Yo,
airport.
that's wild, man. That's wild. That's crazy.
Our next clip is so funny to me that I had to include it. Have you ever, obviously you've had plenty of relationships, I've had plenty of relationships, and you've broken up with the next, and you end up missing them, and you end up realizing, okay, maybe you were the problem.
Right.
Y'all check this clip out, and then we're gonna talk about it.
That's funny.
That is hilarious. So, have you ever been in a relationship where you've had to reflect, you've broken up, and you're like,
yes,
damn, maybe I was the problem.
Yes,
maybe I was the toxic.
And it's always it's usually the time when you're missing them. When you're thinking about them and you're like, oh man, why did I do what I did? And you start reflecting, well, why did I say this? And I could have said this differently, or I could have said that differently. And so, yes, absolutely, 1,000%. I've been in that situation and regretted, the breakup or what have you, or just ending the dating or what have you, if it wasn't, we were actually in a relationship. But yes, I've been there. Absolutely.
Yeah, same here. I've had one or two relationships where I can look back and I can honestly say, maybe I was the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe I was the problem. But relationships like that, you're young, you're still figuring yourself out, you're still figuring life out. You're figuring out how to actually be in a healthy relationship. So, yeah, you're going to make some mistakes when you're young. You're going to do some things, say some things, do some things you shouldn't.
Bro, not even when you're young, when you're old. Like, let's keep it real.
Yeah,
I've made mistakes in my 40s. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep it all the way real.
Let's keep it a buck. As an adult, as a full-grown adult as well.
Made mistakes.
Right. Because you're still, I feel like even as an adult in your 30s and your 40s, you're still testing things out to see what works and what doesn't work. And if you was tripping, I know for me, I'll speak for me. Like sometimes in certain relationships, you'd be like, okay, well, that didn't necessarily go over well in that relationship. And as I'm with a new person, what will she accept? What won't she accept?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We all at some point test our boundaries a little bit in relationships to see what we can get away with, what we can. We all at some point test just a little bit. So, yeah.
No, it happens. And I think for me, to speak personally, like, I just remember one situation, a young lady I was with, we were actually in a relationship. And I think, I'm thinking, man, it's all her. I want to say, I'm a good guy and I'm this and it's got to be all her, whatever.
Right.
And I remember right after that was when the pandemic happened. And so pandemic for me was really eye-opening for a number of reasons. But one of the big reasons was I was isolated. So I was with my thoughts because, everybody's quarantining or whatever. No
that was a lonely period for a lot of people. I'm in LA. My family is away in Northern California. So I'm by myself. Literally.
Same here. So I'm literally like reflecting on a lot. And I started thinking about that particular relationship. And I was like, yo, I was emotionally unavailable. Yo, there was other things that I made mistakes on that I didn't realize until I, was by myself in my thoughts and started going to therapy, because that was another thing. Started going to therapy within the midst of that pandemic, and started learning about myself and things that I was like, oh shoot, I'm not as perfect as I think I am, or not as amazing as, or good, these adjectives that I like to describe. Yeah, good guy. And it's like, no, I have issues I need to deal with. And so I stopped dating for a while until I resolved those issues. And then that's when I started entertaining again, because I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes.
Right.
So
yeah. And that's great self-reflection that at some point, hopefully, as men, we evolve into. We're able to actually look at ourselves and say, look at all the damage we've possibly done, and reflect on that and say, man, I could have done better.
Yep.
And I need to take some time for me and to get some help.
Exactly.
To really flesh out what's going on with me.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, in all of our relationships, we're all the common denominator. For relationships that don't work out.
Exactly.
So that's a good reflection for all of us.
Yeah, man.
What it do, everybody? This your boy DR Bellard. I know you're enjoying the interview, and we're gonna get right back to that. But I need to take a small break to talk to all my actors, my filmmakers, my creatives out there who don't know about this amazing website called We Audition. All right. You ever get a job from your agent and you don't have anybody to read with, and you got a quick turnaround, 24-hour turnaround or something like that, 12-hour turnaround, something crazy, but you don't have anybody to read lines with you? Well, We Audition has solved that, right? Virtually. We are in a digital age, and We Audition has handled it perfectly, all right? It is a video, I have it up here up on the screen. It's a video chat community to audition, rehearse, self-tape, and get advice on your self-tapes. I use it all the time. All right, this is how I booked some of the national commercials that I've done and other projects that I've done. I've met amazing people on this site. You can be comfortable in your own home and prepared at the same time in your own space, but with the interaction and the direction and guidance, right? It's creating a better experience and stronger relationships when you meet these dope people on the site who understand what you're going through. And on top of all of that, when you get ready to sign up, you click the link in this video, go to sign up and put Narrow Path in the promo code. That's right, Narrow Path in the promo code, and you get 25% off your monthly membership. That's right, 25% off your $10 membership, because why? Every penny counts. That's why. And not only that, not only are you saving money, but when you refer somebody, you also make money. And you can make money as a scene partner, reading for someone. There are people that make $3,000 or $4,000 a month just reading as a scene partner for other actors. Come on, you can't beat that. We Audition is where it's at, all right? Can't say it anymore. Narrow Path, promo code, sign up today, refer somebody, holla at your boy. Back to the interview. And last but not least, we got one last clip that that just tickled me to no end.
Another clip?
One last clip. Man.
I love the funny ones.
That clip that tickled me to no end. Y'all check this out.
What the fuck is you doing? What is this?
I was dancing.
In fucking water? Hey, get your the boy who is about the dumbest mother. Oh, we.
I was just dancing.
See, look at the fucking flow. Look at you.
Oh,
how old are you?
I was just dancing.
How old are you?
It's for Instagram videos.
How old are you?
I'm 17, but it's for Instagram videos.
Look at you. Wait up, ever got that?
No.
Alright, I'm gonna slip.
No, because why did I jump?
I'm gonna bite the fuck out you.
You gonna bite mama?
I'm gonna bite the fuck out of you. You get a little 12 for this from. Instagram your ass this way. But look at the fucking flow.
What a crown.
You better be goddamn glad I gotta go to work later.
That tickled me to no end. Oh my God. That is black mamas everywhere.
Black mamas all day.
It's like we all had the same mama or something.
Yo, that's funny, yes.
Like all black people had some version of the same mama. It's some same vernacular, same mannerisms, same attitudes, same perspective, same everything. All
they did not play.
They did not play around.
They did not play.
They did not play around. So I guess the question is, did you ever get in trouble for something crazy or something stupid that your parents or your mama caught you?
Yes. A bunch of times. Are you serious? Absolutely.
As a young man?
Bro, I have so many stories. I'll say, okay, so I'll say this is a good one. My mom didn't play. So I remember this is one of my first girlfriends. I was living at home. I was 18. She was older, and so I remember going out with her, but I didn't come home that night. The next day was Sunday. You know, I grew up church house, so we going to church on Sundays, right? So, but I'm coming like it's light time. You know, it's morning time. I'm like, oh Lord, it's morning. You know, I'm about to come home. It's like 6 a.m. I'm like, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? You know, to kind of justify me coming in, because I know she's going to say something. The other catalyst was that the door that we had was very loud. It was like a squeaky door. So if you opened it, it's going to be super loud.
Right, the whole house heard it.
Exactly. And so, but that's the only way I had to go in. So I remember going into so what I did was I went to the store and got a bar of soap and then came home. And so I opened the door and of course it's loud. Of course my mom wakes up. She comes rushing. She's like, boy, you just getting here? And I was like, no. I said, I woke up and I realized we didn't have any soap in the bathroom. So I ran to the store and got some soap and here it is. She was like, boy, why are you lying? She's like, and I was, fortunately and unfortunately, I was neat. So my bed was made. So she's like, you didn't even sleep in your bed.
Right.
Like your bed's made up. It's not even slept in. She's like, just go in the room. Like, you know, she was just mad and disappointed that I lied to her. But the thing was, she was not, come on, I can't get nothing over on her. Right. I remember one time I had bad hickeys on my neck and I didn't realize I had them. My mom's shorter than me. Right. And so she comes in my room and she's talking and she's telling me to do something. She's like, yeah. She looks up. She's like, what's that on your? She knows what it is. Right. What's that on your neck? I was like, and I was a terrible liar. Right. DR, I was a terrible, terrible liar. Right. I said spider bites. She's like, that ain't no spider bite. You know what I'm saying? Like I was constantly doing dumb stuff. Yeah. And trying to and never could get away with it. Wow. Never could get away with it. But
mamas be knowing.
Black mamas be knowing, bro. They know.
Mamas be knowing.
They know.
I remember one time I must have been, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old, something like that. And we went to the store. My mom's not gonna remember this story. She probably not, but I remember. Mm-hmm. And we went to the store, and I was a big, huge Transformers guy. I love the cartoon Transformers. Okay. Back in the day, and for some reason, I wanted one of those Transformers. I can't remember which one it was, but I wanted it. And my mama said, no. You know, you get the speech from your mama before you go to the store. Don't ask for nothing. Don't touch for nothing. Right. You ain't got. I'm going in here to get what I'm going in here to get, and we getting out. We're getting out of here. Don't ask for nothing. Oh yeah, the universal speech. The universal speech. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted this Transformer. So I'm in the store with me and my brother and my sister. I think my sister's at the time too. Okay. And I see the Transformers and I grab them. I grab a bunch of them. I stuff them in my pants. Oh, wow. I don't know why I think I was going to get away. I'm stuffing them in my pockets. I'm stuffing them in my pants. I'm stuffing them in my brother's pants. Here, hide this. Here, take this. Yeah, we going to get it. It's going to be okay. Yeah. Man, we get to the car. And I'm assuming my mom, you can see the bulge. You can see definitely something. I'm not fooling. I'm not hiding nobody. But by the time we got to the car, she noticed it. Yeah. And she's like, Derek, what's in your pants? What's in you and your brother's pants? Huh? What's in your pants? My ding ding. Not the big ding. Not the big ding. Yo. She's like, no, I know that's in there, but what else is in there? Yeah. I was like, oh, these toys. And she say, you took them toys out of there? Damien did too. Oh, snitch, my brother. Snitched on him. And I'm the one who put them in his pants. Oh my God. They're not gonna remember none of this, but it happened. I promise, it happened. And so she made me take the toys back to the store. When we got back to, we were staying at my aunt for some reason. When we got back to my aunt's house, she didn't even whoop me. She made my uncle whoop me. He went to go get the switch. Ooh. And boy, When I say I never stole again.
I bet you didn't.
I never touched another toy again.
I bet you didn't.
I promise you.
I bet you didn't.
Never in my life. I never took anything that wasn't mine.
Oh yes, I know about that.
Hey, spare the ride, spoil the child.
Hey.
But yeah, man, all black mamas, man, they do not. They always know something's up.
Oh, they know. They know. They know before they ask you. That's the thing. They know the truth.
They know before they
ask you.
Right.
They just want to see if you're gonna lie about it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, Lim, the Saint, my guy.
Hey.
It's been an honor, man. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you talking to the audience about your journey, your passion as a slam poet. All of the other things that you've done thus far in your career. I wish you nothing but success. I wish you nothing but success on this journey. For everything your heart desires. I'm happy for you, man. I just want you to keep going, keep grinding. And like I said, if there's anybody out there looking to book this brother, scoop him up right away. It'd be nothing but a blessing to your program, to your show, to whatever you need him for. Give him all your socials one more time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So stay on the mic on all social media handles. Everything stay on the mic. And also, if you want to book me, email address is saintlybooking, SAINTLY booking @gmail.com. Also, I want to shout out, got a show coming up October 29th. Huge show. It's going to be here in Hollywood, LA, in Hollywood.
Okay.
It's going to be at the Broadwater Theater.
Okay.
It's myself, my homegirl, Tajay, who just finished summer tour together, ripped it. Did all over California, other states as well. Rudy Francisco, who's a phenomenal poet out of San Diego. If you don't know Rudy, I'm telling you, just Google him. He's been everywhere. Tonight Show, all of that. Just phenomenal. Javon Johnson, who was on the clip, my really good friend. He's an amazing poet and professor out of Las Vegas, UNLV. He's on the show. We got an amazing comedian who's hosting, Edwanda White. We got a also dope DJ. We got a musical guest. You just got to come.
Come on out.
Yeah, you got to come. Link is in my bio to get tickets. Eventbrite. If you go to any of my social media handles, you can see the Eventbrite link. So click on that. Yeah, support. It's going to be dope. You won't be disappointed. If you've never been to a poetry show, now's the time to go. That's what I'm saying.
Now is the time to go. Go and support your boy.
Yep.
Y'all know what it is. That's exactly what this platform is for, to expose appreciated and extremely talented people that you may not be able to hear about, to showcase their abilities, their highlights, and their past work and their present work. So go out, make it do what it do. Support my boy. Support the show, the Narrow Path Podcast show. Go and subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe, and hit our IG page up. Narrow Path Podcast 1 on IG. All right? This has been another episode of the Narrow Path Podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. We are out. Holla.
Peace.